Hello everyone, it's VGTI. Before we get started, I just want to thank you all for waiting on this video. I know it's been several months since I last uploaded. I've been pretty busy over that time. Not only did I get a new job, I moved, and I started a pretty big personal project which I'll reveal sometime next year. It hasn't left me much time to make videos, but I'll keep making them regardless, so I appreciate you sticking around and checking them out. With that out of the way, let's turn our attention to the topic of today's theory, Pikmin. Pikmin is kind of like Half-Life, where no matter how many times I come back to it, I always find something new to discuss. Today, we won't be discussing the main Pikmin series, but rather its one spin-off game, Hey Pikmin. Hey Pikmin, in case you haven't seen it before, was a 3DS spin-off title, and it served as a very loose sequel to Pikmin 3. Miyamoto himself has confirmed the game is not the very close to completion Pikmin 4 he was referring to, and this is further supported by Hey Pikmin being made by an entirely different developer, Arzest. The game, by all accounts, is fine. It's okay. Those who have played it probably know what I mean. It's not the same style of gameplay as 1, 2, and 3, but it's serviceable enough, and I enjoyed it okay just for being more Pikmin. All's well that ends well, let's just keep waiting on Pikmin 4, right? Well, there's just one thing that's nagged me about this innocent little spin-off game. Judging by reactions on the internet, it's nagged a lot of other people too. You see, rather than just make things simple and keep our sanity intact, the developers decided to suggest that the planet Olimar crashes on in Hey Pikmin is, in fact, a different planet from PNF 404. This isn't driven home too much in-game, as it's just mentioned by your ship in passing during the tutorial level. Just this one line alone suggests there's more going on here than meets the eye. Now, one thing before we move on. There are many who simply view Hey Pikmin as a non-canon spin-off game, and are content to just leave it at that. I'd be lying if I said I didn't want to do the same. After all, it'd be easier that way. But the way I see it, the game doesn't outright contradict anything to establish itself as non-canon. The only problem is the very theory we're tackling today. With that said, I'm going into this theory assuming Hey Pikmin is totally canon, and that it takes place sometime after Pikmin 3, due to the ship recognizing both rock and flying Pikmin. You don't have to agree with me on this one, and I wouldn't blame you, but it just wouldn't be Pikmin if I didn't think too deeply about it. So, what the heck is this planet? Is it PNF 404? A replica? Something entirely different? And more importantly, why does Olimar keep crashing on planets? Good God, it's amazing Hokate Freight hasn't fired him yet. It's probably because he's one of the few willing to go on dangerous missions like these. The planet in Hey Pikmin looks practically identical to Earth, both from the outside and within. Unlike Pikmin 3, where the continents rearranged to look similar to Pangea Ultima, the landmasses on this planet don't look recognizable. Other than that, it's practically one for one with PNF 404. To drive this point home even further, this planet has treasure on it, just like the stuff you find in Pikmin 2, objects and knickknacks that suggest humans once lived here. The planet even has the same wildlife as PNF 404, including the Pikmin themselves, of course. Because of this, we're stuck at a crossroads here. Do we take the ship at its word and believe this is a totally different planet? Or do we take that with a grain of salt and go with the idea that it was really PNF 404 all along? The simple explanation would be that it's still PNF 404. After all, just to look at how drastically the landscape of PNF changes between the Pikmin games. This is something Olimar himself comments on, and something I did a theory on in an earlier video. However, if we're going to assume this planet is a completely separate one, there are a lot more hoops we have to jump through. First and foremost, we need to explain what happened to the humans in Pikmin. There are a number of theories on this, from nuclear war to time shenanigans, but for this theory we're discussing to work, we have to assume humanity became capable of space travel. I tried looking at this from every angle. Remember the weird murals in Pikmin 3? As far as I can tell, no creature on PNF 404 would be capable of drawing these, not even the Pikmin themselves. It would make more sense that the humans drew them, which is pretty big info since that means they were still alive when the Pikmin started to flourish. So we've got the humans, a society technologically advanced enough to travel through space. Something happened to Earth, we don't know what exactly, causing new wildlife to spring up. This same exact wildlife can be found on the planet in Hey Pikmin, which means the humans would have had to bring a handful of them once they traveled to colonize this new planet. And this is where the theory falls apart for me. You see, while it would be fun to explain how a different planet exists with the same human artifacts, the same wildlife, etc., try as I might, it doesn't seem to fit with what we know about PNF 404. Humanity would have had to become advanced enough for space travel, to colonize other planets. Yet, we see PNF 404 multiple times from outer space and within. Call me crazy, but it doesn't look like the remnants of a technologically advanced society. It looks like the remnants of Earth as we know it today. One could argue whatever happened to Earth forced humans off the planet early, only for them to return, round up some of the wildlife, and travel back to the Hey Pikmin planet. But it still doesn't seem to fit with the kind of structures, treasure, and civilization ruins we actually encounter in the games proper. Nor would it make much sense for the humans to travel back for that purpose when they all left it behind in the first place. There is always the other theory that because Olimar and the Pikmin are so small, we just got lucky enough to never actually encounter humans. It's definitely possible, but considering how worn down the planet is and how much it shifts in a short amount of time, I don't think that's likely. So, all in all, what is the planet in Hey Pikmin? It's simple. It's just PNF 404. While Olimar never actually corrects the ship on its comment, the ship used in Hey Pikmin has never actually been to PNF 404 before. You can tell by its comments, as it sounds like Olimar has told it stories about the Pikmin and the planet before coming there again. Since the ship is unfamiliar with PNF 404 and how it works, it's no surprise that it would notice the terrain and geography doesn't match what Olimar described, making it think it's a different planet. This also means the humans, rather than leaving Earth, simply died out sometime after all of the wildlife appeared. That way the murals found in Pikmin 3 can still be easily explained. Now, this all begs the question, where does this fit in with Pikmin 4? Sadly, we don't know that yet. With its spin-off nature, it's very likely Hey Pikmin will have absolutely nothing to do with Pikmin 4 whatsoever, and hey, that's totally fine. The implications of the planet being different were just too crazy to ignore, so I felt the need to cover it. Thankfully, there's still a lot going on for Pikmin. Nintendo just recently put out Pikmin 3 Deluxe, which has a Piklopedia, bless the heavens. I'm hoping with enough renewed interest in the series, we can see a Pikmin 4 on Switch that much sooner. You can rest assured more theories will spring up when that happens. So, what do you guys think? Do you think the Hey Pikmin planet is a different one, or just PNF 404? Leave your own theories in the comments below, and if you have anything Pikmin related or not that you want me to cover, just let me know. In the meantime, I'm going to be binging Pikmin 3 Deluxe. Thanks for watching, everyone. I know my uploads are a bit unpredictable right now, but I do hope you'll look forward to my next one. I got plenty of ideas in the works.